We are live. Hey, live to fight another day with SDP on MMA. I'm Shadow Don. That's Skylar Don. Together we are SDP on MMA. Yeah, right off the bat, I want to say we're looking for someone to come and join our team. We need some help with the audio-visual side of our show. Preferably someone who's knowledgeable in MMA and the UFC, but at the very least a fan of the sport. We got a lot of killer ideas for the show, but we're lacking the technical ability to put it all together. We need some help. Let us know if you're interested. If you're out there and you can give us a hand, we're even willing to discuss payment. So reach out to us on Twitter, on Instagram, down on our comment page. Just let us know that you can give us some help and we'll get back to you for sure. Kicking things off tonight, we are jumping right in. Got a lot to cover. First off, we are going to do our best to give you our best fight predictions for Fight Night 119, Brunson versus Machida, Saturday, October 28th in Sao Paulo, Brazil, live on FS1. When we get done with that, we will give you our analysis, post-fight analysis on Fight Night 118, Cerrone versus Till from last Saturday. We apologize for the late broadcast this week. It has been a busy one for both of us. And anyway, so we're going to jump right into this. How you doing, buddy?
Doing well, man. I'm excited to talk some fights and not be at work or discussing work for once this week.
I hear that. Well, I can guarantee we can fill at least a good hour and a half talking nothing but fights. Yeah. So, kicking it off, like I said, we've got Fight Night 119, Brunson versus Machida. First fight of the night in the preliminaries. We have, in the heavyweight division, Marcelo Golm versus Christian Colombo. And man, I tell you, dude, this is one of those ones where you get to see the UFC debut of a guy that is supposedly all that in a bag of chips. Marcelo Golm has got big, heavy hands. Went out and watched some fights that are out there on Fight Pass that are pretty much hard to watch because they're completely in Brazilian. But I did suffer through it, and let me tell you, man, this kid is exciting to watch. He's a heavy hitter, high energy for a heavyweight, and personally, I could just wrap this one up. Christian Colombo ain't shit. He hasn't shown me nothing in the UFC yet that even tells me he's supposed to belong there. I'm going with Golm on this one by decision. Or excuse me, I had Golm by knockout in round 2. I looked at the wrong fight. How about you?
I'm going to go the same, knockout round 1.
Knockout round 1. You got a favorite in Golm?
Yeah, I see the same thing you did. He's a little more tenacious. He's got a little more energy, a little more pop, and we like that ferociousness, and he's got it. So I feel good.
Absolutely, I think it looks good on paper. Sorry here for the delay. I'm opening up Vegas odds. Yeah, I don't want to be able to tell you what the latest is. Here it is. We have Marcelo Golm, negative 205. Christian Colombo, positive 165. So, leaning on Golm there kind of heavily. Looks good.
He's in Brazil, so
yeah,
something to consider. It's a good parlay.
Hometown there. You know, Marcelo Golm, not to waste too much time on these guys, but he's training out of, what's it called? Corinthians MMA in Brazil. That's the place that Anderson Silva opened up. So he's been training there from day one, and like I said, they're expecting big things out of this kid. The next fight on the card is in the flyweight division, and it's Deiveson Figueiredo versus Jared Brooks, the Monkey God, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, go ahead, bud.
I'm going Monkey God on this one. It's going to be a tough fight. They're both undefeated. Figueiredo, or if I'm saying that right, is 12-0, and Jared Brooks 13-0. So, I mean, it's hard to dissect these fights because both guys are pretty good at what they do. It could be argued that Figueiredo is going to have the odds, and I don't know if he does. I haven't looked at the odds yet, but I could see him having the odds being in Brazil and him being Brazilian. But, I like Jared Brooks' game plan. It's really nice. He's a super good wrestler. He's got the core for it. He's got it all 3 rounds, and even when he's hurt, it seems to wake him up more than hurt him. So until I see his lights get put out, I'm going to go Monkey God forever.
I think if I'm not mistaken, I think you look this up while I'm talking about it. I think Deiveson is the bigger guy here.
Oh, yeah. He is.
And
5'5", so by 3 inches.
Yeah, and I certainly think he has the ability with that straight uppercut that he throws. This one was a tough one for me right off the bat. It's like you're juggling Jared Brooks. Man, let me see here. Eric Shelton, Nakamura, Corey Simmons. He's only had one fight in the UFC with Eric Shelton. It was a big win for him. Split decision, though. But, man, I tell you, dude, I'm struggling with this one. I all the way up because I still haven't made my pick. Deiveson, who was his first fight? Beltran?
Yeah, that was his big corner stoppage fight in June. Was against Marco Beltran.
Yeah, man, I guess I'm gonna take Brooks here. I'm gonna choose him by decision. He'll probably just grind this one out.
He's a grinder, and we love our grinders. So
absolutely, he's kind of wild. He throws a lot of unorthodox stuff, and I like that in him. Vegas odds has Jared Brooks -175.
Oh,
like
they favored him.
So
okay,
Deiveson positive 145. So that looks good there. So you're going Brooks as well, yes?
Yes, sir.
And you're picking him how?
Decision.
Oh, same. Okay, good deal. This next one should be a banger, man. We got how do you say that? Elizeu, Zaleski, Dos Santos.
Dos Santos versus Max Griffin.
Yeah, and I think this one's going to be a throwdown. I'm just going to say right up front, I don't think Max Griffin is there yet. I'm not saying I'm ruling him out. I'm not saying it's not possible he might land something wild and make it happen. He's definitely got the power, right there in the early round one, I should say. But I'm throwing my weight into Zaleski on this one. Dude is just he is an incredible striker. I like him on the ground. He's really well rounded, and I've liked everything that I've seen out of this guy so far. I'm taking Zaleski by knockout or TKO in round 1.
I'm with you on that all the way. Dos Santos is a bad motherfucker. I think he's like in his 30s too, and he looks that phenomenal. But you talk about a guy that's built like the Hulk, but fights flowy, right, and naturally just good at what he does. Take a look at this guy, and I'll be honest, I don't know why this fight's not on the main card. And there's a couple fights I don't know why they're not on the main card, but this is definitely one of them. Be ready to see fireworks between these two, and be ready to see Dos Santos get that knockout in round 1.
Yeah, his nickname is Capoeira, and I don't know why that. I don't know why. I've never really seen him do anything. I mean, I've seen him some amazing kicks from the guy, but his whole background is kickboxing and Brazilian jiu-jitsu. This guy, that Lyman fight, he won by split decision, and they just banged it out, man. I mean, they really did. They threw punches that entire fight. Before that, he won his previous fight with Nakamura by unanimous decision. I just haven't really seen enough out of the guy to jump and just say, yeah, this guy's all it, and I've heard a lot of hype about him, and I keep waiting to see, I just haven't seen him tested, at the ranks that, what I'm talking about. There's levels, and we keep talking about it, and I know a lot of other analysts talk about this. So that's all I can really say is I'm wondering where he's going to be when he falls into that next level. So I'm anxious to see Max Griffin. I mean, what do you think of him?
I think he's got great mechanics. I think he's got good body control, and he's got a future here in the UFC. But no, I mean, there's a clear difference between Dos Santos and Max Griffin. I mean, do the odds reflect that at least?
Let's go look at the odds. Odds show Dos Santos -225, Max Griffin +175.
I think those are perfect odds. And I usually don't say that if it's -2, but you can see it's, to your point, the level of development in Dos Santos kickboxing is way higher than Max Griffin's. I mean, you could see it right off the bat.
Right. And Max Griffin, he's kind of untested still. He's 1-1 in the UFC. His last big knockout, they call it TKO over Eric Montano. That was in November of 2016. So this is another guy it's been a long time between fights, and I keep talking about this. I'm surprised these fighters go as long as they do. And then you see other guys that are just true and tested. You see them every 3 and 4 months. Why? Because they say flat out, put me in there. ASAP. Mm-hmm. I don't need, I'm a fighter. Let's do this. I worry about these guys that go these long periods. I always am concerned. But either way, Dos Santos is our pick, and the odds reflect it. So the next one we have is, this one's a good one. Hacran Diaz versus Jared Gordon in the lightweight division. This is apparently a tight matchup. However, Hacran Diaz, he's one of those real crazy. He's got a wild style, man. He trains with Jose Aldo, and he's just. I tell you, I got to be honest, man. I've watched a couple fights now, back to back with him, and he has a hand movement that I cannot stand while he's fighting. It leaves him so predictable for the timing that he almost always takes some abuse, big punches in the face, because it just seems like a timing that's really easy to get. Is he deadly with his punches? Is he? I don't know. I just haven't seen anything that's just made me go, wow, this guy's on fire. Jared Gordon, an exciting fighter to watch. This was a hard fight for me, but in the end, I'm going the new guy on here, and this could come back and kick me in the ass, but I'm going with Jared Gordon. Hacran Diaz, just like I said, he just doesn't do anything that makes me go, oh wow. So I'm taking Gordon by decision. Tell me what you got.
I'm going the Flash. First of all, Renzo Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. So that's your foundation. If that's your base, and this dude's knocking out people on their feet, I'm good. I'll take that 9 times out of 10. You gotta love a Gracie fighter who can stand up and really strike. And not to mention, he's not just a striker. You can see the dude's built as fuck. He's yoked for his weight class. So I feel good. Like, I know he's a newcomer. I know that a lot of people don't know much about him. He's 5'9", but he is the bigger guy here.
His first fight, I should say, knocked out Michel Quiones.
Yeah, Quiones.
Yeah.
And that was a tough-ass fighter right there.
Right.
So, but the thing I like about Jared most is he's another grinder. And if it's not going well for him if it's not well for him on the feet, he'll use his Renzo Gracie his black belt jiu-jitsu, and he'll put you on the ground and just control you there. So I think you're good in both facets of this fight, but you gotta watch Diaz's leg kicks. He trains at Nova União, and those guys will fucking take your kneecaps out. So, but yeah, no, I feel good. I feel pretty confident with Gordon. What are the odds?
Well, let's look. I should have this one up. I'm sorry. I'm having to flip back and forth here. Jared Gordon, -160. Hacran Diaz, +130. So, good deal. Well, I feel like I'm running on the Vegas streak right now.
Same here.
So, and sometimes that's good. Sometimes that hurts. I don't know. The next fight we've got is Antonio Carlos Jr. versus Jack Marshman in the middleweight division. Man, I'm excited about this fight. This is going to be a banger no matter how you slice it. Go ahead. Tell me your thoughts.
The more we go along this fight list, I'm realizing I'm getting more anxious. Like, every fight gets better and better and better and better as we go up to the main event,
Right.
I mean, it's so cool to think that we're experiencing this, and then next weekend we go into Michael Bisping GSP. Woo! Okay, so back to Carlos Jr. I like Jack, but I don't think training at the Tillery Combat MMA Academy, I think that's going to show him up short here. He had a decision win over Ryan, I think it's Ryan Yanes or Janes. And that dude, the only thing he brings to the table is jiu-jitsu, and I think Jack should have arguably taken him out probably 4 to 5 times in that fight, and he didn't. And if you know anything about Jack Marshman, he gets knocked out. He's been knocked out 4 times. I think 3 of those in the first round. And so, I like Antonio Carlos Jr. here. He's the bigger guy. He's at home in Brazil. He's a fucking awesome submission specialist. Like, if he puts you in a rear naked, you're not getting out because he has so much range. And he's learning jiu-jitsu in Brazil. So, and he's mixed that with American Top Team now. So, I'm good with Carlos Jr. here. I understand that he's 8-2 and Marshman's 22-6, but I'm not concerned about gas. I'm not concerned about jiu-jitsu basics. He has every fundamentals you need to win this fight. So,
you hit one of the key things for me is he came to America and started training with American Top Team, and he's just gotten better and better and better.
Best thing he ever did.
Absolutely. And he's on a win streak. His last 3 wins were impressive. I really liked it. But you know what? I'm not going to take anything away from Jack Marshman either. That hammer out of Wales, UK. He is nothing to be. Carlos should be concerned because the guy has incredible strength. He's got an iron chin, purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's got a great ground game, and again has proved that he can bang. I mean, Ryan Yanez, that went all 3 rounds. He won that by unanimous decision, and they beat the hell out of each other. You know what I'm saying. And before that, like you said, this guy's got an impressive winning streak. Now, out of 3 fights in the UFC, he did lose against another guy on the card, Thiago Santos. And that was an impressive win for Santos as well. Marshman got totally caught off guard by that spinning wheel kick. This is a hard one for me. I'm not going to lie, man. I mean, it wasn't easy for me to make my choice. I battled back and forth here. A lot of these I did, and I apologize because I just want to, I'm still having a tough time. I think, Marshman can do this. Let's look at the odds real quick here. Let's see what we're looking at. We got Antonio Carlos Jr. negative 450. Jack Marshman 325. So I'm just going to say this. This wouldn't be a bad dog. Marshman is not a bad dog. And if you want to throw that in there on some good parlay mixes, I'm going to. I know he has the ability. And there's a couple more in here that I'm going to throw out there on the dog end tonight. But I'm going to go ahead. My money tells me Carlos Jr., and I'm going to take that by decision. What do you got?
You're going Carlos Jr.?
Yeah.
I'm going Carlos Jr. by submission.
By submission, which round?
That's the fucking hard part for this fight because Marshman will go 3. Oh, man. Maybe round 2, so round 2 submission. And I'm not even call it a choke. It'll be rear naked.
Wow. All right. Being bold, brother. I like it. All right, we jump into the next fight. It's in the welterweight division. I love this one, too. Vicente Luque versus Niko Price. This is welterweight, and, man, I'm excited about this one, dude. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Niko all day. This kid's shown me that with the power of American Top Team behind you and a little bit of wrestling fundamentals, boy, goddamn, this kid knocked out Alex Morano in the 2nd round. This dude knocked out Alan Jouban in the 1st round. This dude put Brandon Thatch in an arm triangle choke in the 1st round. This dude took out Jose Caceres in the 1st round with punches. I could go on and on. I think that Niko Price freaks me out because he's the most evil experiment rat-looking dude I've ever seen. But, man, he's got everything you need for fighting, so I'm in. I'm with Team Niko till he's out.
Okay, well, I'm going to say this. Niko's lost me a lot of money because I should have bet on him when you had told me previously that this was my guy, even though he was a dog, I think, in both of those last fights.
It's because of how fucking ugly he is. You just don't want to go for a guy like that.
Well, I'm tired of losing. Yeah, let's just put it that way. I'm tired of losing, and I'm on his bandwagon. So I'm with you, man. I mean, Luque, though, man, he's got an impressive fight record. You know, he's been in the UFC now since 2015. He's had some impressive fights. Michael Graves, Hader Hassan, Alvaro Herrera. Oh, hell, Bilal Muhammad. His last loss was against Leon Edwards. That was back in March of this year, and he lost that by unanimous decision. It went all 3 rounds. That was a banger in London, man. Leon was there in front of his hometown, and I had a tough time with that one because I think it could have easily went either way. It doesn't really matter, though, because I'm doing Niko with you. I'm taking Niko Price. Knockout TKO round 2.
I'm going to go knockout round 1. This kid's round 1 potential. You mean, you might as well, even if like you have a private bet and you just want to gamble, that's what I would do. I'd go round 1 knockout or submission, and you probably will hit. I mean, he just is notorious for coming out like a fucking freak. He's
got a chin too. He can take a punch.
Yeah, he'll
scarily.
He'll walk into it, and then once his legs wobble, he'll take you to the ground.
He'll grin at you and smile while he's throwing it.
Yeah,
he trips me out. He goes a little demonic. Vicente Luque is favored, but slightly, like -135. Niko Price, positive 105.
Oh my God, dog all day.
Yeah, again, and this is one of those issues where you need to start thinking up like some three dog parlays and then mix them in with maybe three of your favorites, sure to wins, and there's money to be made here all day. It just depends on how you switch these up, but it's good to know. Good to know that there's dogs out there to be had.
Right.
So the next fight we've got is another kick-ass fight, bantamweight division. John Lineker versus Marlon Cheeto Vera. I know you're really excited about this one. Why don't you tell us a little bit about why you're so pumped on this?
Well, I'm really excited because I'm a huge fan of Cheeto, and I really like him because I think he is the only fighter out of Ecuador and putting his country on the map right now, and I really appreciate guys that are able to go at that high of a level, not having what maybe Americans have available or Canadians with TriStar. There's just not a whole lot out in Ecuador, and to think that he's beating guys like Brian Kelleher, putting him out with a submission 1 armbar.
Amazing.
Putting out guys like Brad Pickett with a head kick. And when he took that fight on a couple days' notice too.
Both didn't look like he was going to win that, and surprisingly won both.
Yep, and Cheeto and I have had conversations on Twitter, and he's really all about his kids, and I love all of that about the guy. He's young, he's 24 years old, same age as me.
Is he living here now in the States?
No, he still lives in Ecuador.
Okay, because I know he was training here on our America Top Team too.
Yeah, I heard he's training a little bit everywhere, which a guy, when you're 5, I think he's 5'8" or 5'8", when you're that tall and you're able to make 145 like that, you want to go everywhere. You want to learn what you can do with that body. We saw what John Jones did with that frame at light heavyweight, and this is very similar. I mean, 5'8" is extremely tall, but this is what makes this fight crazy exciting. Is I also love John Lineker, not because he has kids, not because of any of the heartfelt reasons I just put out for Cheeto, just because Lineker's a fucking maniac. Like he is the definition of, I'm either going to swing and hit you, or I'm gonna swing and miss and lose. And go look at his record. He beat John Dodson, Michael McDonald, Rob Font, Francisco Rivera, Ian McCall, and I don't know this guy, Altpetikin Osklik. I don't know who this guy is, but he knocked him out. And all those wins are in a row. They're all UFC wins. And he lost. He went 3 rounds with TJ Dillashaw and lost that fight, unfortunately. I wanted Dilladong to lose. But, oh, man, I don't know, because John Lineker's coming out of American Top Team and OCS Jiu-Jitsu, and I like both of those camps. Like, I really, really like what he's doing fight-wise. So I'm going to keep my head out of this and make a last-minute switch and go John Lineker.
Last-minute switch for John Lineker, huh? Well, I had already had Lineker by submission in round 2. I'm sticking to that one. It's going to be this is one that can go either way. I think this is an extreme tight matchup. Personally, I'm probably going to leave this one out of my picks because I think it can go either way. Marlon has just as much of an opportunity to steal this fight away from Lineker.
Especially being 6 inches taller.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you right now, if they go to the ground, Lineker's fucked. Like, he's fucked. But if they stand up, we know who's fucked. Cheeto is.
Well, and Cheeto's got the reach.
Yep.
Reach advantage. So I don't know. Everything is in Cheeto's favor to steal this, but money and history tells me Lineker.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that 29-8, so you're almost 40, 50 fights in, and this dude's 13 fights in, and Lineker, his last fight was a guy. He's fighting for the belt now, TJ Dillashaw, and a former champion. And if you can go 3 rounds with that, I think you can go 3 rounds, dominant rounds with Marlon Vera, Cheeto. So, no offense to you, Cheeto. If you ever watch this or hear this, I'm so sorry, man. But this is completely fight IQ. It's not that I don't love you more.
It's levels, and you'll be there. He'll be there. He's on his way.
You prove it to me, and you put this guy out, then I'll have no choice to be on your back for the rest of the day. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, listen, Vegas has got Lineker at -500, Marlon Vera at +350. So I'm just going to say this one. You could mix this one in on like a 3-team parlay and throw this one on as a dog, and it wouldn't be stupid. I mean, it really wouldn't. Marlon Vera, like we said, you can go and do the homework yourself. Cheeto has all the ability to finish this, and it all depends really on how it goes for Lineker. So we'll see how it goes.
I'm going to say this now just to say I said it, and maybe one day I can go back and say this was the episode I said it, but Cheeto will be your future champion one day. He's just got to put it all together. Being from Ecuador, you don't have the resources we got, but he'll see. You'll see. Everyone will see. I mean, when you're that big for your division, you just got to put it together.
Yep.
Just puzzle it together.
Okay, our next fight is in the middleweight division. We got Thiago Santos versus Jack Hermansson. Or Manson, however you want to pronounce it.
I got to hear you go first on this one.
Well, man, I'll tell you what. I've been thinking about this one a lot. And these fights for me are just a struggle. Every moment that I stop and consider what's happening here, it becomes a little bit harder in my mind to pan out. I wish I could have just walked away, but instead I'm doing this. And you know what? Let's just stop for a second. Why are we doing this?
Why are we picking fights and podcasting?
Why are we doing this? Why are we spending our time, doing homework and trying to be entertaining, if you will? I mean, what's in it for you?
What's in it for me is I think that getting what you have to say or trying to call the future in any terms, number one, is really cool when you can do it, and it's even cooler when you can go back and go, I said that in the podcast. There's been a couple fights where we've looked back and gone, shit, what was I thinking? Yeah. But it gives you a chance to evolve your fight knowledge. It gives you a chance to constantly gain levels of thinking and seeing things you maybe didn't see prior, or maybe seeing things exactly how they are. But I've noticed, I'm going back and looking at our videos and our podcasts. I'm getting smarter as a fighter and as somebody who's doing analysis on it. So, those are my reasons.
Gotcha. Well, I was thinking about it the other day, and I was like, it was while I was doing some homework here for the show, and I was like, so far we haven't had a lot of feedback, so it's tough to know really if this is even being well received, if there's anybody coming, on a regular basis. And really at this point, if you are, just say hello. Will you let us know you're out there? Let us know if you agree with what we're saying, disagree, if there's something that stands out to you in the show. Just say hello. We want to know that you're out there. Putting that aside, it's funny because without that without that communication back and forth with hopefully, what we're building is some type of a fan base, where we can interact with a community that we're building. I'm looking forward to the future of what the possibilities of this are. I feel like we've watched other shows and other casts, and I know that if we can just get somebody that knows what they're doing kind of on the technical end, we could really turn this show into something cool. We got a lot of contacts that we haven't reached out to that are in the MMA world. And, I'm doing this to be able to just kind of, like what you said, we'd be talking about it anyways. I mean... Yeah,
exactly. And I'd rather have it on recording than discuss this weekend away from where we can't go back and go, look what we said.
Yeah. Well, I've appreciated us being able to sit through every fight that we've ever analyzed together. And we just have that look of, we picked that one right. It's awesome when you pick it precise, like exactly how it's going to go down, what round. That's exciting for us. So I do it because I enjoy MMA. I enjoy the sport. I love, just BSing about, what we think of a fighter. I love hearing and discussing what other people think. So that's why I do it. But once again, on the back end of that whole thing is I'm doing it hopefully with the idea that this is going to grow and turn into something cool. So with a little magic dust, maybe that'll make it happen.
A little pinch of magic.
Yeah. By the way, that last fight, that Lineker Vera fight, that is my fight of the night. That's my prediction for the fight of the night. Okay. All right. So we brought us to the middleweight again. Thiago Santos, Jack Hermansson. Thiago Santos, what an exciting fighter. This guy, he's just... There's only one thing I hate about him, and that is that head with that long neck. He sticks it out there, and it's just out there on a pedestal because his neck is so long. And when he leads, he has a certain style of head movement and footwork that sometimes puts him... so open. Any good striker should be able to pick that apart in film and take full advantage of it. The problem is that means you have to get close enough with that big bastard and to be able to actually put a punch on his head and not take the counter punch. Hermansson's, dude, this guy's he's deadly, dude. This is going to be a huge fight. I think that. It's got the makings of a banger. It really does. You got a favorite?
I'm going Hermansson, but it's exactly what you said. Both guys have 10 KOs on their record, and one's 15-5 and one's 16-3. So that's about 2/3 of each of guys their fights, and their wins are straight KOs. But I'm going Hermansson. He's younger. He's got a little bit less mileage, and if you saw the way he knocked out Bradley Scott and Alex Nicholson, then you know why I'm going the Joker.
Yeah, Hermansson, he's coming from Sweden, so he will be the visitor there in Santos' hometown of Brazil. I'm just going to say this, man. I think that this is another one that can go absolutely either way. Santos, all the ability in the world... He is an exciting guy. He's a black belt Muay Thai, another capoeira fighter, purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's really well-rounded, and he's a pretty good striker.
He doesn't get enough credit for that.
Absolutely, I can see this one going either way. I had another one where I'm just fighting it. I went Santos on this one, and I may come to regret it. I just looked, and so I know he's the underdog. Santos is at positive 105, slight underdog. Hermansson's at negative 135. So this is a real...
Hermansson's the negative?
Yeah, negative 135. So this is a real close matchup thus far, and this may change over the course of the next 48 hours. But keep an eye on that one. I'm going to stand clear of this. This is another fight that I'm not going to put this in on my parlays. To me, it can go either way. I'm taking Santos by knockout in round 2. So hopefully I'll get lucky.
Yeah, I was gonna say you might need a little luck. Hermansson's never been knocked out.
Yeah, but I don't know that Hermansson's ever faced a beast like Santos.
True.
So we'll
True.
see. We'll see what happens. And how did you pick Hermansson? Manson?
Knockout round one.
Knockout round one. All right, man. I'm telling you, dude. And the fights, then they just keep going.
Yeah, these
So
next four are crazy.
here we go. Lightweight division. And we got Francisco Trinaldo versus Crazy Jim Miller. Go ahead, buddy. Let me clear my throat.
I'm gonna go Francisco. I know he lost against Kevin Lee with that rear naked choke, but Kevin Lee can just about do that to anybody unless you're Tony Ferguson, or maybe a Nate Diaz. But God, he knocked out Paul Felder in round 3 at like 38 years old. He's 40 years old right now. He's born and raised in Brazil. I think he's one of the only guys to beat Yancey Medeiros. He beat Ross Pearson. He does like to go to decision quite a bit, but I'm not too worried here. Jim Miller looks to be really suffering, and he's collecting losses pretty quickly, but he is fighting guys like Anthony Pettis and Dustin Poirier and Thiago Alves. It's a tough fight. Something's telling me go with the home crowd advantage and go with Trinaldo. They're both the same height, so there's no difference there. One's 40, one's 34. Yeah, no, I just feel good with Trinaldo being at home. Maybe if this was in New Jersey, where Miller's from, I'd be going Miller. But I don't know. These are a battle of two older guys, so you kind of got to go with what's flowing at the moment.
And are you willing to put money on that one?
I'm not like this. This fight, you can feel good with your money either way. So no, I don't think I'll be putting my money on this at all. I'll leave this completely out of everything.
Well, Trinaldo, hometown, he's got Brazil on his back there. But he's the older fighter, 39 years old. Jim Miller, another slightly older fighter, he's 34. They're equal in height, 5'9", 5'8", similar reach. Both of them southpaws. That's going to be interesting. Jim Miller, he has had some incredible fights, man. And like you said, is he on his backslide? I don't know. Yeah, who knows, dude? Just right when I count Jim Miller out, that fool comes flying back. So
he takes so much fucking abuse, though.
He does, dude. But man, he can throw some mean kicks.
Yes, he can.
I mean, he will whip those legs, and that could wind up giving Trinaldo some trouble.
And if this goes to the ground?
He's pretty formidable on the ground. I don't think Trinaldo wants to go to the ground with Jim Miller. I think Jim Miller's a grinder. He's good from his back, too. He wraps you up, he pulls you down, keeps you close guard, and he's good from his back. I don't know if that really just comes from his wrestling background or what, but God, I struggle. This is just another one of those that I struggle with. And I keep going back in my head, though, to the fights that Jim Miller's lost against were against some great guys. I mean, we're Dustin Poirier, Anthony Pettis, Diego Nightmare Sanchez back in the day, Michael Chiesa. I mean, come on. And then he's beat guys like Thiago Alves, Joe Lozon, Takanori Gomi back in, well, that was July of last year. But
you know what the differential was for me?
What?
When I saw that Trinaldo beat Paul Felder just last year.
Yeah, that was a banger too, man.
Yeah, and it was dominating. I mean, like, he really did. He fought really well to be 38, 39 years old.
I guess my gut here is telling me Trinaldo. I'm going to go Trinaldo decision because I just can't see anybody finishing off Jim Miller, man.
Jim Miller.
Right? That fool's got a chin of steel, man. I've seen him just lights shut out and it's like somebody just flips the lights right back on. He does that a lot, shakes it off, and he pulls you into guard, catches his breath, and it's like he never got knocked out. And those are flash knockouts, so he takes them and still ends up winning fights. Blows me away. So yeah, we both got Trinaldo. Then how did you pick him?
It's gonna probably be this decision with Jim Miller. It's so hard to get that guy to quit.
All right. Well, then our next fight is Pedro Munhoz and Rob Font in the bantamweight division. Should be just another killer fight, another one that I struggled with a lot. Yeah, man. I mean, I'm just going to tell you flat out because again, we can wrestle this back and forth. Both of these fighters have got excellent fighting attributes, equal attributes that should be both scary to one another. But I don't want to rule out Munhoz. I'm glad I'm not putting money on this one, but I'm going to say Rob Font.
I'm going to be pretty decisive and go Rob Font too. I think Pedro's in trouble in a lot of ways here. Rob Font also went 3 rounds. He lost, but he went 3 rounds with John Lineker, and any guy that can do that and come out still standing, I applaud. So he got a nasty TKO knee and punches over Matt Schnell. That looked good. And then beat Douglas Silva de Andrade with a round 2 submission guillotine choke. So I really like how Rob's good everywhere. There's no real weakness in his game plan other than maybe he could be susceptible to be getting taken down by Pedro because Pedro does train at Top Team. And Pedro seems to love that guillotine choke a lot.
Oh, yeah, that's his go-to.
Right, but he has wins over guys like Statsiak, Scoggins, and Russell Doan. So I just think it's Rob's pioneering the champion direction or the ranking direction, and I think Munhoz has been. I mean, no offense to those guys, but they're not ranked fighters. So I don't know. That's my feeling there. I feel good with Rob Font.
Well, Munhoz. This is like I said. This is a tough one. I don't think I'm nearly as comfortable as you are with saying Rob Font. I think Munhoz has a real good opportunity here if he plays his cards right.
He has the ability.
Yeah, I truly believe that. And Rob Font, another guy that you just can't take anything. If anything that Munhoz has got going for him is that he's there in Brazil, amongst his his country will be pulling him on there. So I guess we both want Rob Font by decision then. Let's see what Vegas says. Vegas has got Rob Font at -165, Pedro Munhoz at +135. So again, that's a real close odds, man. It's nothing.
I got Rob Font by knockout.
By knockout. Oh, okay, what round?
2.
Gotcha. And yeah, definitely, man. Like I said, that's just too close for me to even say anything else. Good luck on that one. I mean, you're either gonna go with what you know, or you're gonna
hit or you're not on that one.
Yeah, exactly.
If you've been doing this as long as we have, you know what we're talking about. It's gonna go exactly how you saw it, or completely the opposite way.
Well, and these last two for me are just more of the same. The co-main event here in the welterweight division, we got Demian Maia against Colby Covington. For me, this is an extremely tight matchup. Let's just start off with Vegas odds. Vegas has got Colby Covington favored at -140, Demian Maia at +110. That is way too close to even say one way or the other there. And I think that reflects exactly what it should. Because, really, we can break this down, but do we really have to? Everything we know about these guys, Demian Maia, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu phenom, right? He's going to be equally effective on his back as he is, from top mount. You don't want him on your back. Absolutely do not want him on your... wear you like a backpack.
The motherfucker has his own gym, and he's 40 years old in the UFC fighting the champion and going 5 rounds with him. It was an ugly 5 rounds.
It was, but he's a striker. He's proven that he can throw, he can bang. He's a precision striker at that. Wicked kicks. And then you've got Colby Covington coming from this wrestling background, a high wrestling pedigree. And there's another ATT guy too, by the way. It's just the cards covered with American Top Team. But this guy reminds me of like a Jake Shields kind of framey guy, and brings kind of what Jake Shields brings to the table as far as his NCAA one, yeah, right? Champion. I think he was a NCAA one wrestling champion.
Hey, I brought this a good time for me to bring this up.
Yeah.
I brought 5 things you need to know about Colby Covington because this is a very tense fight for a lot of different reasons. Because a lot of the threats that each other bring, they negate out because both of them are such good ground dominators. Colby relies on you being on your back and him being on top, and Demian thrives on being on the bottom while you're on top. So it's very interesting because they cancel each other out. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to talk about the newcomer. We know Demian and we know his career and the amazing shit that he's done. He probably is the best submission artist that's ever come in, other than the Gracies themselves. But 5 things you need to know about Colby Covington real quick. Covington won a National Junior College Athletic Association Championship at Iowa Central Community College, where he went 34-0 as a freshman. And his roommate, guess who he was? John Jones.
Oh, really?
John Jones. Yeah. So that was his roommate. And then he went to become an NCAA All-American and 2-time Pac-10 Conference champion at Oregon State, which has a great wrestling program. I mean, like, you gotta... Oh, God, this fight. I mean, just saying, screw the other 4 things. Just knowing that alone, that the dude came up from a community college and went 34-0 as a freshman.
Right.
Like, you gotta have heart, and if you know anything about wrestling is nothing but grind. But the problem here I'm having is
that you're grinding against a jiu-jitsu specialist.
Yeah, no, not just a specialist. He's considered a master now. Like I'm sure if you're in his gym, Demian and the way jiu-jitsu works, you probably call him Master Maya at this point. It's called Demian Maia Jiu-Jitsu. Like, this fucker here, 12 submissions, 10 decisions. And another thing I had to break down this fight was Maia destroyed Masvidal for 2 rounds straight. And granted, Maia almost got knocked out in that first round, but he did beat Masvidal by backpacking him, taking him to the ground and doing what he does. So would Masvidal beat Covington?
I would assume.
Right? Based on experience?
I would assume, but I don't know, man. I mean, the buzz right now is that Covington is like at the top of his game right now. They said that he has improved to the point where we should see a new ball game from this cat, that he's just been on a steady incline. I don't know, man. Like I said, I think this is, like, to your point, this is classic wrestler against Brazilian jiu-jitsu artist. Will they stand? You know, how long will they trade before somebody says, "Oh, let's take this down"? Because Maia has shown twice now in his last 2 fights that he is not opposed to standing up and throwing punches. So, I don't know, man. This, again, a tight matchup, close for me. I'm gonna, you know me. I lean on Maia every time. I would say 90% of the time he gets the job done. So, I took him by decision because even if he has to grind this out against a wrestler, I see him being in an amazing position to be able to neutralize Colby. And if he takes top mount or gets on Colby's back, it's lights out. Not saying or taking anything away from Colby. I think he has an equal opportunity to be able to not only land some heavy strikes, but if he gets the takedown and he winds up on top, he may be able to implement his will. We'll see.
Here's the reality to this fight is if Covington beats Maia, Covington becomes number 1 or 2. He fights Woodley next. And that doesn't sound right to me. If I was God, let's just say, and I was looking down at this situation.
Hello, God.
Right? Hello, call me Master G. I would look at this and go, it's not your time. It's just, that's too far of a jump in the rankings to go into Brazil and think that you could actually do this against Brazil's master jiu-jitsu artist. Can he do it? Should he be able to do it? Yes, probably. But how many guys have said that they were going to do it before? And how many guys said that they were going to do it, like Colby saying that where he promises a round one finish and he puts that on his life.
Right.
I don't know how you see it that way, buddy, because if Maia makes it out of round one, you're fucked.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're fucked. It's not going to go your way.
However, Maia's gas tank is proven to fail.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, in 5 rounds, in 5 round fights,
That's true. This is a 3-rounder, so yeah, I don't know, man. I'm surprised that Covington is actually favored here, even though it's slight. But I'm still going Maia, and I'm going to take Maia by decision. What did you have?
Maia submission round 3.
Wow. Hey. Okay. Well, we'll come back and talk about it. Last fight of the night, main event. We have Derek Brunson versus Lyoto Machida in the middleweight division. And this one here should be, if you've struggled with yet another one, this should be one that should not be just an easy wrap-up for you. If it is, there's something wrong with you. You don't know who these guys are. I'm anxious to see the whatever you want to call the updated Lyoto Machida. He has had a layoff. I think it was an 18-month suspension for testing positive.
Yeah, he doped.
Yeah, doped on some substance, and anyways, he's been gone 18 months or so, and he's coming back. He says he's feeling good. His coach had an interview, or his trainer had an interview, and said that he's in, of course they all say he's in prime shape of his life, and he's executing at a very high level right now, and he also threatened that if Derek Brunson has the nerve to take him to the ground, that'll be the end of him. So I don't know. Derek Brunson, man, this guy, all power, amazing strikes. This guy is on a roll. He's an exciting fighter to watch. However, I will say this: I think Lyoto is definitely got the fighter level of IQ. Lyoto is at another level there. Brunson has the ability, the strike, the knockout power, and that's what he brings to this table. I struggled, but I do believe that Machida is going to have a tough time handling Brunson's strikes. I think he's just going to overwhelm him with power. I took Derek Brunson, and also Derek Brunson is favored by Vegas odds at -160. Lyoto Machida at +130. I took Derek Brunson by knockout TKO in round 2. How do you see it?
I see it as only one 40-year-old Brazilian, or two 40-year-old out of the 3 Brazilians on the main card that somehow managed to make it. Yeah, this is not the Brazilian that's going to bring it home for you. I don't think it could happen because Derek struggles with technical strikers. But power, efficiency in Derek's corner, well, that could work against him with this being 5 rounds. So, in that aspect, I think Machida has a better outlook when we're talking rounds. But if we're talking straight power and athleticism, we're talking Derek all day, and that's why I'm going Derek by TKO.
Yeah, if he's going to do it, he's going to have to do it early. I don't know if he's a 5-round fighter by any means. Looking at his past. Yeah, I don't think he's ever even seen, outside of the 3rd round. So, but you mentioned he's got tough time with technical strikers, having a lost Anderson Silva, Robert Whitaker being the last 2. I mean, you couldn't ask for any 2 more surgical strikers than that. Plus, they throw a lot of unorthodox stuff into their boxing mix, and that has given him a tough time. He took a TKO from a head kick and punches from Robert Whitaker, but Whitaker, he's like a wolf.
Fucking boy.
He's a wolf. He smelled blood and he jumped right on him and finished it. Anderson Silva won that by unanimous decision, but proved nonetheless that he could outbang him. So I don't know, man.
That's a good nickname for Whitaker, Robert the Wolf Whitaker. That's got a ring.
Bad. So yeah, I don't think this should be too much of a struggle because Brunson has everything in his arsenal to finish this quickly. To your point, if this goes a little bit long, and it doesn't
If
go
this goes past 3 rounds, I think Machida wins.
I do too. I think Machida should win if he takes it out of the second round, actually. So, yeah, that's where we stand. What did we say? Again, Derek Brunson just slightly favored, so that's a tough one, man. I wouldn't want to make that my money maker by any means, because I don't even think I'm going to put money on that one.
I'm not either, especially with Brunson being the favorite. I expected him to be the underdog with Machida being in Brazil, so I wouldn't put that on your betting cards just because we've seen it before. Brunson has a really hard time dancing with the best dancers, and Machida, we know that's as good as dancing as it gets. But what have we seen in Machida? Age is catching, and it's catching quickly.
Yep.
And Maia, the same thing's happening, but the only thing that makes these two different is Machida is relying on banging it out with Taekwondo and his karate background. And I don't think that's a good game plan for a 40-year-old. I think the smarter 40-year-old is Demian Maia. So I would take your dog there and leave this fight out if you want to pick a 40-year-old Brazilian to win. I think that's going to be it. Or try to go with Trinaldo, which that's not guaranteed. But right. Can we just capitalize on that? When was the last time we saw 3 40-year-old Brazilians on the same card? On the same main event card, not even on the underdogs.
Yeah, it wasn't even like that at the last Brazil.
Right, all the underdog guys, even John Lineker and Thiago Santos, these guys, and Dos Santos, they all just got kind of sunned. It's almost like the UFC went, we're going to put Papa in.
All right. Well, listen, man. We got a little bit more time. I'm glad we were able to get all those picks done in a timely fashion, because that's going to be a fun one to come back and recap on. I can't wait. It's this Saturday night, October 28th, Sao Paulo, Brazil, live on FS1. Don't miss it. Fight night 119, Brunson versus Machida. So now let's do some post-fight analysis on Fight Night 118 with Cerrone versus Till. We don't have to break down every fight, but let's just touch on some of the highlights. That was last Saturday on October 21st. It was over in Poland, and I was excited about some of those fights. And to be honest with you, we had 7 that went to decision, and to me, it didn't turn out quite as exciting as I thought it was going to be. Don't get me wrong, the main event, Darren Till versus Donald Cerrone, shutting that damn thing out, in the first round. Woohoo! I'm glad I said, I hope I get to come back here and be able to say, way to go, Till. You proved me wrong. You defeated somebody at the top ranks, and way to go. I'm excited. I'm behind you 100%. Next time around, I don't give a shit who it is. I'm betting on you, brother. What'd you think? What'd you think of that one?
I thought it went exactly like I thought it would. If you go back and listen to the video, you asked why I do this. This is exactly why. To go listen to that last video and my fight breakdown and my analysis. My number one thing was hand speed, the technical striking in Darren's hands, the ability to fucking fake a jab and contort your whole shoulder into whatever you're throwing and make it look high and go low. Those are the things that are going to take you to championship level. And to think that I said that and saw it, and a lot of the world was shocked. Like you saw Mike Perry afterward, he even said, he was like, Donald didn't show up tonight. But the problem is Donald did show up. People are just underestimating Darren because he's not American. He's from a small country.
Sure. He's never even fought in the United States yet.
Right, like it's tough. It's tough for guys like that, and his upbringing, being stabbed, almost dying, you can tell all of these things have energized him and pushed him to the highest level of Darren Till. And I wasn't surprised. I think I looked right after the knockout and was just like, yeah,
saw that coming.
Yeah. And he, what's funny is they asked him after, the media asked him, and they were like, what? Where was this ferociousness versus Bojan? And he said, the problem with being this good is you can afford to play with people. and you can afford to take them into rounds and beat up on them. He said the thing with Donald Cerrone, though, is we all know who Cowboy is, and we all know what he's capable of. And he said it takes those fighters to bring the best out of me, to bring the lion out of me and not the Joker. And I thought it was a really cool, like, fascinating way of explaining that, because that was the truth. The hand speed and the Muay Thai pressure, you if you put that on somebody in round one, they're not going to want it. It takes you a round to adjust to that type of pressure when you're throwing hands at that rate. So, but yeah, man, go Darren. Love that guy.
Well, while we were watching, the pre-fight on him, that little backstory they give, the up and coming, and I remember turning to you, and as we were talking about it, I said, it's going to be a whole new ball game if this guy is able to actually walk the talk like McGregor does, because he seems to be kind of. I mean, there were a few things that we even said. He just pulled a McGregor, and like by the book, and that's okay. I mean, if it works for you, it works for you, and that's what I said. Is I hope for his sake he comes out there and puts a beating on Donald, because if he comes out and does that, then he can actually boast his chest and say, I did exactly what I said I was going to do. That I love. I love the whole idea of putting action to thought and making it happen and being able to look back on it. And I know all fighters come out, I'm going to whoop his ass and I'm going to be victorious. But there's magic to some of these guys and how they do it and how they break it down. And they flat out tell you how it's going to happen. And when you see it, they don't call McGregor Mystic Mike for nothing, and like I said, Till's following in that, in that, and I don't want to say he's copying him. I'm just saying he's following in that type of footstep. He has the ability to be huge in the UFC. I think he is going to be the next big thing. He's going to be the next T-shirt I buy. I'm going to represent hardcore. I love everything about him. So the only thing I was a little bit gun-shy about was his mouth. But I was the same way about McGregor at first. It takes a while to warm up to guys like that when you're a little bit more humble, and even when you've got it and you can knock out somebody, it's another thing to go around and just telling everybody I can knock out anybody. So, but anyways, what a great fight. We're really excited. Darren Till, man, what an amazing up-and-coming prospect. And we've been on his bandwagon from the start. It was really tough to bet against him on this one. Before that, we had Carolina Kowalkiewicz versus Jody Esquibel. I think we both picked that one precisely. We got Carolina by decision, and that's exactly what she did. She just went out there and ground out a win. Jody was tough, man. What did we find out about Jody right before the fight?
Oh, God. She's ugly Keith Jardines. If y'all watched any classic UFC, mean Keith Jardine. And I didn't even recognize the dude. Like,
right? He looks like death warmed over, man.
Seriously, he looks like how old is he? He's 40-something, and he looks probably 70.
I don't know. He looks like he looks like UFC chewed him up and spit him out.
Yeah,
with do you remember when we used to watch his fights? The one thing you could absolutely put money on was Keith Jardine was going to lead with his face
and bleed.
He was going to bleed all over his opponent, and you were going to question whether or not the fight was going to get stopped due to a massive gash or cut in Keith's face.
It's crazy.
And I'm not taking anything away from him. The dude was an amazing brawler back in the day.
Fought some of the best classics that have ever existed, too. Yep.
But Carolina, man, she did exactly what she needed to get the win. Jody put up a hell of a fight. She was tenacious. She wanted the win. It was clear. It was apparent. But Carolina, man, she looked good, dude. She looked good. She still gives that division, in my opinion, one of the best runs for the money. I think she's going to get another shot. Behind that one, we had light heavyweights Jan Blachowicz versus Devin Clark. That was, let me see, that turned out to be the performance of the night. Jan absolutely shocked the world, I think, by the way he did it. Nobody that I talked to thought Devin Clark was just going to, give up to, a submission. I just didn't see that one happen. I thought, if anything, he was going to get knocked out.
Oh, man, I told you right before that fight, I felt something weird. I felt like Jan was there.
He was. He had that zombie look in his eye.
Yeah, he had the whole look of I could go down. He had. That's what I said. That was the word I said. I said he's looking like Stipe right now, and I can't get a read because I've never seen Jan look like that.
He looked like that weigh-in too, didn't he?
Yeah, and that's when I felt it. I almost wanted to go back and change my Devin Clark pick just based on that, but fucking A, what an awesome submission. Wrapped it up around the cage, didn't even see it coming. I mean, that's how you do it.
Rear naked choke, man. Jumped right on the back, finished him off. Yeah, it was, we both went with Devin Clark, so we lost that one. But hey, man, that one, I mean, we knew right before that fight that we were in trouble, I swear to you. Before that, middleweight division, we had Oscar Payota versus Jonathan Wilson. And that one went exactly the way we predicted it. We both took Payota by decision. That's exactly what happened. He just kind of another one that just ground out Jonathan, man. I don't know that Wilson never stood a chance.
Wilson had, I think, one round on him, but Oscar, I'll just call him Oscar, screw his last name. Oscar knocked Jonathan almost out at the end of the round. Remember that? And Jonathan controlled that whole round too.
But it wasn't enough to take the round because he won unanimously by 30-27 all the way across the board.
Exactly. So when he dropped there at the end, that counted as a knockdown. So it shifted the scorecards back towards Oscar in the second round. So that was interesting. Which means Oscar shows up in the clutch. Mm-hmm. So you got to remember that about him. He shows up in the clutch. He didn't do a whole lot in the first 3 minutes, but as soon as you saw the 2-minute tick happen, he turns it up. And right. he starts driving you backwards. So I like that. I like that kid. I'm excited to see what he's going to do.
On the preliminary card, Marcin Held versus Nasrat, the Rat, Hacran.
The Rat got close.
Yeah, man. It was
dropped Marcin 3 times. God.
But you know what? Marcin did everything he needed to do. He took top control, didn't he? The majority of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a tough one. But anyways, another one where he lost by unanimous decision. We both had Nasrat. We thought he was going to come out there and do something. But, yeah, Held did exactly what he needed to do. Absolutely.
Survived. That's what he did.
Well, another 30-27. Unanimous.
I can't believe that one. Before
that, bantamweight, Brian Kelleher versus Damian Stasiak.
Kelleher came to play.
Man, we said he was going to grind that out. I think we both took Kelleher by decision on that one, and he wound up getting a knockout in the third round. TKO, right?
A beautiful knockout, too. He fucked Stasiak's nose all the way up. And he said after the fight, he was like, I crushed Damian's nose.
Yeah, he said he hurt it.
Yeah, he said I crushed his nose, and he still kept coming for 2 more rounds. He's like, I got so much respect for that guy.
Absolutely, and it took the fight of the night. So
did it? Oh, good for them.
Yeah, I mean, it was a banger. That's the one. If you want to go back and see a fight worthy of the card, go back and watch Kelleher Stasiak. It was worth it. Next one, catchweight.
Alvey.
Yeah, Ramazan Amiev versus Sam Alvey. You know, I found out later, and I didn't realize because they didn't say this during the fight itself, but at the weigh-ins, Alvey missed weight. He was supposed to come in at 185. That was the limit, and he came in at 189. So and they gave away 20% of his purse, and they made that fight a catch weight. So I just noticed the change on the record. It didn't say. It had moved it to catch weight. So,
I didn't know any of that. Wow.
Yeah, kind of crazy. But yeah, dude, we both called him Amiev to pull that one off. I don't remember how we called that. Do you?
I don't either,
man. But
I didn't expect it to be a grueling 3-round
decision, right?
Like, do more, please, make this a fight.
However, that was unanimous. So Amiev did win according to the judges all 3 rounds.
Right.
I mean,
right.
Sam just looked horrible. He looked fat. He looked out of shape. Sam, I'm sorry to bust you up like that, bro. But from a guy that I watched go do the Oh, what the hell is that show with
The Challenge.
Steve Austin? Remember that?
Yeah. Is it Tough Man Challenge or
no, man, it's not coming to me. But anyways, cardio for days on Sam Alvey. He just looks like shit. I don't know what's going on with him. He needs to completely change his game. I said, what's going to happen? Watch, and immediately he's going to make that weird face, stick his bottom lip out because he's gasping for air, and it was like he was doing at the end, but not even the end of the first round. All he had to
he's got to leave Team Quest. He's got to.
It's just horrible, dude. But
he's got to. They're not doing anything with his southpaw stance.
Just a crap performance. I don't even know if he can stay in the UFC with that type of performance. However, the fight before that was another banger, and it did go all 3 rounds, and that was okay because we liked all 3 rounds. Andre Fili against Artem Lobov. You took Fili. Congratulations. I think you called Fili by the knockout, though. And
almost happened. Yeah, almost.
I had Artem by decision, and it went unanimous to Fili, 30-27 against the all unanimous, all 3. And but Artem tried, dude. He tried like hell, but Fili got the best of him. The exchanges, it was the reach of Fili. It really was the difference maker because every time Artem tried to get in close. Hell, Fili just a little bit of head movement and or a straight jab, and Artem was eating it all day long. I mean, he fucked his face up.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't dig Artem at all, and I really didn't enjoy that fight all that much until Artem got dropped. So,
hey, how'd you like McGregor showing up for that one?
That was cool. I'm happy he did that for Artem, but. He probably did that because he realized that was Artem's last fight.
do you remember Conor circling the cage, dude? And
yeah.
The refs were like all freaking out because they looked out and saw that I think they were more worried like it was a security risk after looking back on it because you're a fan, you're not allowed to walk in that inner sanctum, that little circle there. So not only did he have great seats, but the security allowed him to walk in there. And I don't know, maybe he was a part of Artem's corner or something. I just couldn't piece it together.
I listened to the interviews afterward, and McGregor wasn't even supposed to be there. Like, like he showed up on the scene and did the whole McGregor, I belong here for that fight. You know,
he did the Billy walk all the way down to the front there, and the whole crowd was like freaking out when they saw him.
Yeah, that's what a good time to do it because they were in Europe and they were in Poland, so it was a good place to do it and make a surprise entrance like that. But what the ref told him was, you need to be a professional.
Yeah.
And because you can't be on fucking the side of the cage. I don't care who you are. Like, even the greatest of the greats can't be yelling and walking around the fucking cage yelling out what to do over your corner people.
Artem!
He said, go to the body! He said, shoot to the body!
Take him down, Artem!
And the worst part is, Artem didn't listen to a fucking word.
Not a damn thing. Does that fool ever listen to his corner?
No. He needs to go. Oh, we found out he has a master's degree in finance.
That's what he needs to go back to.
He can do Connor's finances from now on.
Hey, Artem, if you're looking for a job, dude, I need an accountant.
Right.
All right, so anyways, good job on you. You got that Fili. The next fight was in the welterweight division with Warley Alves versus Salim Tahari.
We fucked up on this one.
Yeah, we did. Dude, what happened?
We got a wrong read on Salim, and he took... hats off to him, though, because the guy took... I got mad respect for guys that take a fight a week advance.
I got mad respect for anybody who can go 3 rounds with Warley.
Warley Alvarez, yeah.
Woo!
But yeah, we fucked this one up. We expected too much out of a newcomer, and the experienced Alves just fucked Salim's world. So.
Oh well, it happens.
It happens.
And the next one was in the women's bantamweight with Aspen Ladd and Lena Landsberg, and I called that one bad. I had no idea. I didn't. What I saw on tape of Aspen Ladd, I just didn't think she had that tenacity at all. You sniffed something a little bit different in her game. You said it was all in the ground, and dude, she was not getting the better of the stand-up by any means.
Oh, no, never does.
She went into it went into the corner in between round 1 and round 2, and we laughed about it because they said to her at the end, dude, what do you, just take her down. The
last thing they yelled at her,
they said last thing they yelled at her was take her to the ground. And dude, she came out there and that immediate shot took Lena down, and it was over from there. I mean, it really was. Her ground game and her jiu-jitsu was just too much. Lena had no idea what was coming once they hit the ground. So once she had her down there, and she mounted up on her, Aspen then turned on the ground and pound after, literally just kind of totally dominating her from top mount. Let Lena wear herself down a little bit, and then pounded her out. TKO, stopped it in punches in round 2.
So if you go watch SDP on MMA UFC Fight Night 118, I'd say about this fight that with women, I'm all about the women that can neutralize position, because you're at a natural disadvantage for a TKO or a knockout without landing something like super flush, and that just doesn't happen a whole lot in fighting. Right. That's why the knockout's so special. It's just the awe of fighting because it's so rare. So you got to depend on chicks that know their groundwork and not only know it, but it's a language to them, and you can see it. She can't stand up at all. We saw it. She shouldn't have been standing up in the first place. But the one thing I said is neutralization. When you can neutralize somebody on the ground, there is no fight anymore. It's your fight. It's your world. And as soon as Lena hit her back, you saw, Aspen, I really believe, although she is a newcomer, I'm serious and comfortable in saying she has the heaviest full top mount next to Chris Cyborg. She gets in top mount and you're not going to get out. And I don't know what it is, what she's doing special about it, or if she's really just put in that much work into her black belt in jiu-jitsu. I don't know if she's second degree or not, but I mean, that's the game plan.
Well, her stand-up wasn't that impressive at all.
Mm-mm.
So if anything, she needs work on her feet. I mean, go to Jackson Wink. Right?
Yeah, go to Jackson's.
Well, the last one in that, it was the first fight of the night, was Josh Emmett versus Felipe Aranches, right?
Yes.
And I picked that one perfectly. I took Emmett by decision. I don't remember what you had on that one. Would you? Same thing?
I had Emmett, but I don't remember by what.
So, yeah, that one went by decision. All 3 rounds. Josh Emmett literally dominated. I think round 1 could have... Was it round 1 that could have went either way?
No. Arantes got dropped 3 times in round 1.
Kept dropping him. Through the entire fight, he dropped him.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't understand how Arantes was there. Seriously,
I think we were worried. I thought he had one round out of that, but I could be wrong.
I remember Emmett just dominating the shit out of him. I stopped watching in round 2 though, so maybe round 3, I don't know, but it was unanimous decision.
It was unanimous decision. So yeah, one of the judges might have seen in one round, but. Yeah, so that was a good night. I mean, it wasn't great by any means. I mean, it was a day. It wasn't even a night. We started that one early in the day because of the time difference.
I really like that. I don't know about you. I like waking up and having coffee with you and going straight into fights. I could do every Saturday that.
Yeah, and I feel like I've got more energy on the coffee than I do on the beer. So I assure you, by the time the main card got there, I was way more alert than I normally am. Because sometimes, you know how I am, I typically go back and watch the main event, the second day, and just see it from a different perspective. Alcohol has a way of erasing my keen sense of memory. So yeah,
says every drunk alcoholic.
Absolutely. So, anyways, it was great, but not the greatest. And the great one is coming up next weekend. UFC 217. Woo! Bisbing versus St. Pierre, Saturday, November 4th, Madison Square Gardens, New York, New York. We got 3 belts on the line. Cody Garbrandt versus TJ Dillashaw. We got Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Hey, I got it. Joanna Jędrzejczyk.
Jędrzejczyk. There you go.
All right. Versus Rose Namajunas. That's going to be great. I'm really really looking forward to that fight as far as the females are concerned. Then we got Wonder Boy Stephen Thompson versus Jorge Masvidal. That's going to be a great fight. And one that I've just been waiting for because I can't wait to see this guy back on another card. James Vick versus Joe Duffy. James Vick is one of our locals here. He's right out of the DFW area. I think he's over in Fort Worth. But, man, what a great guy, dude. I follow the guy, and just a classy dude, man. He's not all about himself, and, you know, and yet he goes out there and he lays down a beating, you know. He puts up a hell of a fight. I'm looking forward to that one as well. It's going to be awesome. What are you looking forward to most about 217?
Oh, shit. This is what I'm looking forward most to. Can you read that?
Yeah. World middleweight right and still.
And still, baby. That's what I'm talking about. I fucking hate GSP. Thanks. I hate GSP so much. And to think that he's coming back and gets to fight the one-eyed monster, I can't wait. I would love to see Bisping put GSP's lights out. And you know what, MMA community, fuck you. GSP's in the past. Bisping never quit. Don't forget, these two fuckers are about the same age. Yeah, GSP 36 and let's see here, Bisping 38. So yeah, I'm ready to watch GSP get sunned for once because Bisping never fucking quit. Not once. Not once.
Tell us how you really feel.
Seriously, I think it's personal for me. I've really grown a hatred for GSP.
Yeah, I have too, and I am the best. I am the best. Yeah, no, I got news for you, man. That fight, it should be the determining line of who gets to talk shit and like be legitimate about it. From then on, there shouldn't be any other argument.
I think that my argument is GSP shouldn't even be fighting.
No, they're already talking about GSP, you know, possibly fighting McGregor. I heard that in McGregor's top 5, and I'm thinking, are you kidding me? I mean, I'm sorry, but really? Anyways, I don't know. You know how it is, dude. I don't know. There's a lot of fans out there. GSP carries a heavy crew behind him of followers, and that's cool. You know, I don't care. I've never been on his boat. This is a guy that all I can remember is in heavy fights where I wanted to see banging, he would just grind it out, or he's really good at running in the cage. You know, I don't know, dude. I'm so done with St. Pierre. So go Bisping. We're both excited about that one. So, next week we'll be coming in, I don't know, probably Monday or Tuesday. We'll get an early start on that one. Lots to talk about. We're really looking forward to doing the breakdown. Dude, we accomplished a lot tonight. And like I said, we always look forward to coming back. I did want to say something that I've been meaning to say for the last couple of weeks. I want to give out a shout out to a guy that's up and coming in the MMA community right out of our DFW area. We met him a few weeks back when we went to see it at a theater. His name's Chris Carter. He's fighting out of Saxon Gym here in Plano, Texas. I assume it's the one in
my
Plano,
boys.
Texas. Yeah, and you know, Skydon, he's friends with some of the fighters out of there as well. And man, but it seems like a really cool dude. He mentioned that he trains with Ryan Benoit, and Ryan's got an upcoming match in Australia versus Ashkan Mokhtarian, and that'll be on UFC Fight Night 120. So
it's a good fight.
Yeah, that's November 18th. It's coming up. We'll be covering that one for sure, and we'll talk a little bit more about Ryan and the gym and Saxon and what we know. But yeah, that's going to be a good one. We'll be watching and rooting on Ryan, and like I said, we'll do some fight analysis on him as well. But Chris seems like a really cool dude. If you're out there, man, leave us a comment. Let us get in touch with you, man. We want to follow you, and maybe we can get you in, and maybe you can do an interview with us and give us kind of an insight as to what it's like there at Saxon. We've always wondered. We'd love to go over there and just kind of just watch and hang out with you guys. But yeah, we look forward to seeing him fight one day soon. Chris Carter, man, he's built like a brick shit house, but he seems really, really humble and like a really nice guy. So yeah, it was cool. So you got anything else you want to say?
No, just get on there. Let's talk some shit. I'm ready. There's been nothing in our comments, and I would think by now we've hurt enough feelings to hear somebody cry. So,
yeah. Well, if you're out there, leave us drop us a line. So, tune in before every UFC fight for our predictions and analysis. Become part of our personal MMA family. And to close, we thank you for joining us. We're SDP on MMA. Follow us on Twitter at SDP_MMA. Also on Facebook and Instagram. Until next time, be healthy. Live to fight another day. Y'all be good.
SDP on MMA.